Yo, 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 yo. I just found something that just really blew my mind, and I had to come up and put up a YouTube video. It is like 2:15 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just looking for stuff, and I'm just like saying to myself, let me just go on to the web and check out the MakeHumanCommunity.org. And what did I find? What in the world did I just find? Oh my God, this is going to be crazy. MakeHuman Community just released, this was in November 22nd of 2018. I didn't know that. I had no idea that this release was available because I was day in and day out grinding, going hard on Blender. Now, I started with MakeHuman before I started with Blender. And obviously, I'm new to 3D. I've been in the 3D arena, I would say, for about a year or so, going strong, trying to get myself and gear myself to understand 3D. And eventually I ran into MakeHuman. Before I did MakeHuman, I was playing around with what is known as Adobe Dimension, and that is a dope tool that got me and geared me into 3D to learn a little bit of the basics of 3D. So with no further ado, folks, let's get this. If y'all folks want to tune in, this is going to be mind-blowing. Hopefully this update is exactly what I thought, which is beyond my imagination. And so let's go. We're going to run it. Now, if y'all folks want to get this, look in the video's description area, get the link to it, or you can go to MakeHumanCommunity.org, and then you can follow what I'm going to show you in this video of how to get the actual download, or you can click this link and get it yourself. So we're going to go click run away, or run anyway, not run away. I'm just bugging because it's so late and I can't really read. I'm kind of dyslexic right now, but you know, Windows will come up with this protected screen and whatever after you get the download and try to run it. So to bypass it, you click some link up here, whatever, and then click run anyway. So we're gonna run it anyway instead of run away, and let's see how this thing turns out. Yo, I think it's gonna be a phenomenal update to the MakeHuman community, and I am most definitely appreciative to all of the developers who went hard for this actual update creation. And just like Blender got updated, got the beta 2.8 release. I had no idea that this was coming, so I'm sure y'all folks didn't either. And if it's new to y'all folks, I highly recommend for y'all folks to go and check out MakeHuman, because it is a dope tool, and it got me to understand and learn 3D in a great many ways after I already learned some of the basics. So let's hope that this thing runs up, and it's taking a little time to load. Let's see, it says right here user account control, so we got to click yes to allow it to run, because we obviously know what it is. I know the publisher. Hit yes, and let's see what this puppy can do. Oh yeah. So you basically got to go through the setup files and all that stuff. A little bit of the history of MakeHuman. MakeHuman basically started, from what I learned of, and I did some research, it started on Blender, and through a guy named Manuel Bastioni, which also put up what is known as the Manuel Bastioni Lab, that is an add-on to Blender. So now on Blender in Blender 2.80 beta, you can't use the differing add-ons yet for MakeHuman as well as for the Manuel Bastioni Lab. So MakeHuman had, in the previous version of Blender, which is 2.79b, previous to 2.80 beta, and previous versions of Blender, pretty much you could use these add-ons, and they will come up on the left side of the screen where you have your tools as a tab. So you click on those tabs and you can access them, and you can basically do some amazing, super powerful stuff that you couldn't do with that little cube that comes with your Blender. So let me bounce out of here. I'm playing around with the grease pencil thing, I guess. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just playing around and having fun. So let me just go into the general and go into layout, and I'll show y'all folks what I was talking about. And look what I just did. Holy crap. I just created some kind of a mesh. I don't know what that is, but let's go to edit mode and see if I could play with it. Nope. Let me try to click on it. I got select box, so let me go to select and try to select what I got here. What the hell? I don't know if I can select it. I have no idea what I did right there. So let's try box select, or let's go back to box select real quick and see if I can select that. Nope, can't select it. It's all good. I don't care what I did over there. This is not what I'm talking about. Now what I was talking about pretty much is the cube. Let's bring the cube back, Shift A. And this fancy schmancy cube is what you start off with in Blender. And it kind of throws you off. You get lost with it and you're like, what am I going to do with this thing? I mean, it's not much. It's very primitive. It's a shape of a cube and I recognize that, but can I do anything with it? You might get lost in the beginning, get discouraged, because Blender navigation starts out fairly easy, which you use your mouse and you try to control stuff, but it's much more than meets the eye because there's a lot of hidden menus, hidden hotkeys, things that pretty much you may not be savvy with and you may not be used to. So all that stuff takes a long-term knowledge curve to learn if you're brand new to 3D, obviously. So let's get out of here and let's hit the next button and let's see what MakeHuman has in store to turn that cube experience into something entirely different that's going to turn your mind inside out, because you're going to be like, wow, how in the world am I able to do this? So install just for me, install for anyone on this computer. Let's go with install for anyone, because MakeHuman is free. And also keep in mind, this is not going to affect any previous versions of MakeHuman that you have on your computer, if you have any. So whatever files you have on those other versions, this is not going to affect it. That's what they stated. So I'm going to go with it and see what happens. Also, this is not the full release. This is an alpha version. So it's MakeHuman Community 1.2.0 Alpha 1. So this is the alpha version. Obviously, they're going to go further with it. They're going to keep developing. And I don't know who's working on it, but somebody back there is working somewhere in the MakeHuman community realm in the world, around the planet somewhere. They're working on this. And they're going to bring it strong, I believe. Because, man, the first version of MakeHuman community type of tool, or MakeHuman in general, that I have, which this little icon right here is for MakeHuman, it is pretty powerful. So you can create 3D avatars or 3D humans, pretty much. I don't know if you can create a 3D avatar of yourself with it, but if you use one of your images and you tried to map off that image, you probably could mirror yourself as a 3D avatar. If you were that good as a 3D artist and used MakeHuman as a base mesh, I'm telling you, you could do it, because MakeHuman, it speeds up the process of 3D art, or 3D modeling slash 3D sculpting in general. If you're into 3D sculpting, you know that it's not that easy. It takes some time to actually sculpt something that looks really, really good. There's a great deal of people on the ZBrush community. There's a tool known as ZBrush, and it's pretty advanced. You got to pay thousands of dollars for it, or be like a student in school to get it pretty much close to free, or maybe even free. I'm not sure. I'm not a student in school, but I'm telling y'all folks, this is something that's going to change your view and perspective on 3D. So let's go with it. Let's see what happens. It's almost done. It's loading up some Python scripts. I got to learn Python, man, because I want to catch up to these developers. These guys and gals are pretty powerful. They're loading extract scenes, extract skeletons, skeleton drawings, subtexture, wavefront stuff, all these differing names, titles, nomenclatures. The differing words and keywords for 3D is how I learned a lot of this stuff. So I just kept looking up on Google, cross-referencing, learning stuff, trying to figure out, doing back checks on historical events of 3D, of the 3D kind, everything. So let's go. We're gonna try to get it to run up. Let's see if it runs up. I did talk a lot, but I wanted to hype this thing up because I think it's gonna be pretty powerful if it runs on my computer. So let's see what we're gonna get. I got it launched and probably got to go to my hard drive and check where it is. So I launched it. Maybe I can double click it again and then it starts up. I'm not sure, but this is the MakeHuman community folder that I downloaded. Let's actually go and open up a new window. So open a new window from my C drive and go and check and see if MakeHuman is in here now. So it's not here. Let's go into my documents. Let's check over here. We got MakeHuman here, volume 1. This is not it. So that's something that was downloaded. Let's go back and let's just check the C drive. Maybe it's in the C drive. I mean in the programs folder. Let's check the programs folder. There's no MakeHuman there at all. So it's not in any of my C drive type of folders. And so I'm probably going to have to double click this again and see what it does. If it tries to run up the download again, yeah, it's going to try to run up the download again. Do you want to allow this app from an unknown publisher to make changes? No, I'm not going to do that once more. So I just tried to download it and I don't know where it went on my computer. Oh boy. So this is going to take some time for me to figure it out. I read the read only thing, or read whatever, read me. Went in there, read that, and then it says to install MakeHuman, use the installation execute. Note that the contrary to 1.1.x version, this will install MakeHuman as a normal Windows application. To start it, find the MakeHuman icon on the start menu. You will not be able to start it by navigating to the installation folder. Okay, so we're going to have to go to the Windows start menu. I did read that before, but I didn't really follow every little detail. So we're going to go to the start menu, and here it is, recently added MakeHuman community. We're going to right click, and then we're going to go to more and pin that to the taskbar. So there it goes, MakeHuman community. Let's hit it. In 3, 2, 1. Let's see if we got a liftoff. Uh-oh, here we go. We're going somewhere with this bad boy. And I'm telling y'all folks, I have a feeling this is going to be a knockout. This is going to be a knockout punch. MakeHuman pre-release test build. Holy crap. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. So this is how it looks. That's how it started out in MakeHuman 1.1.1, the previous version that I had. So let's go and switch gender. We're going to go for male. We're going to go and change the age a little bit. We're going to go and change the muscles a little bit. Let's go back age a little bit. Let's go with the weight a little bit, and let's go with the height a little bit, and just keep doing a little bit of this and that. Let's change the actual facial feature. Look at that. He looks kind of Asian right there, right? Let's go into little African. Let's go into Caucasian. Let's mix them up a little bit. Bam. So that's more like a mulatto, right? Mulatto type of guy. Let's go with gender. All right. We're not worried too much about that part. Looks like a male's gender. Let's go with the face. You can play with the face, fat head if you want. You can do an angle on the face. We can do oval head. Bam, bam, bam. Y'all guys get the point. So you can play with all these options. Let's go to torso. Let's see what the torso is all about. Move that back. We want to put some clothes on this bad boy too. So let's do with that. Let's go with this. You can stretch out the torso. You can make the side view a little bit more larger, give him some chest compressions. Go with the arms. Let's see with the arms what we could do with the arms. So bam, we can play with the fingers. I'm not going to really mess with all of that because that might get a little too chaotic and out of control. Now another thing that's dope is you can go with randomize. So you can just randomize all you want. And look at that, I got a baby right there. Can I go back? Nope, I can't go back. But look at this, now I got a grandpa. Yo, it is pretty crazy what you can do with MakeHuman. It is unlimited, the type of 3D models that you can model pretty much and super fast on the fly. And these models, they don't look too bad. They really don't look too bad. Now if I wanted to render, I can go into rendering. I can go into customs. With customs, I would have to go into the MakeHumanCommunity.org website location, which, let's bounce back, bam, and then we got to go into downloads, or no, let's see, go to assets, my bad. So bounce into assets, and then you got to get these different targets. So you go to targets, you get any of them, whichever one you want, and then you go in and you tie that back into that folder that I showed y'all folks that wasn't the folder for making this actual MakeHuman software work. So say I wanted this xenomorph body. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. Click the link for it, save it, go to my hard drive folder that I got that file from, copy, cut, and then I got to bounce back to my, actually not C drive, my documents, because they set it up in documents, I guess. I don't know exactly where they set that folder up, but you're going to have to find it. This is a MakeHuman folder. Here goes volume 1 PY3. Look at that. That's a new volume folder that was thrown in there. But I didn't see that before. Before it was V1. If you can rewind back in the computer, or back in this video, you'll see it was this one, right? So this was the only one that was available, V1. Now they got V1 PY3. So let's bounce into that one. Let's go into plugins. No, it's not a plugin. What is it? Data. It is a target. So custom. Go into custom and then paste that bad boy. So that is a target, I believe, for customs. Let's jump in here and look, it says customs, and target will come up eventually. So what I need to do, save this creation. Say I wanted to save this particular creation. I don't know. I'll just call it something. I can save it as something and just throw it into a folder, random folder. I don't know. I'm just having fun, man. It's kind of late, so I'm moving fast. Hopefully y'all folks are keeping up. But this is the kind of stuff that you got to play around with as a 3D, I wouldn't say 3D artist. I'm more like a 3D file mover, file exchanger, I guess. So let's go to our MakeHuman community subfolder that I created. This is something that I created, not the tool created. The other one was what the tool created. We're going to call this something. I don't know. Whatever. Hit enter. Double click that and then call it something one. There we go. Something one. Save it. All right. So now, yo, this is gonna get crazy. So it's in a .mhm, which stands for MakeHuman, and that's the file type for saving. I can load it if I want to load it, but I don't want to load it because I already have it sitting here. I can export it if I want to export it, and guess what? MHX2 is automatically tied into this MakeHuman community version, 1.2.0 alpha version. In the previous version, 1.1.1 of MakeHuman, they did not have this tied in. So it wasn't tied in. You would have to go in and find a forum and find the GitHub page and then extract it and do the download, the zip folders, and do all kinds of crazy stuff to make this thing work as an add-on. But now you don't have to do that. Boom. That is pretty dope, right? Imagine if the add-on was automatically tied into Blender. That would be even better as well. But guess what? Now all you got to do is just click this little tab button thing and go export. And you're set for MHX2. Now I think this is going to be only activated, like I was saying, for Blender 2.79b. So I'm going to have to activate Blender 2.79b in order to get that working. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'll deactivate this bad boy over here and I'll test it in another video, or maybe I'll test it towards the end. I'll see. So let's X that out. That way my computer doesn't crash because there's too many different things running around at the same time on my desktop, my Windows desktop. So let's see. Let's get Blender 2.79b running. Right now it's not responding. I'm not worried about it. Let's go down and pop back in here, and let's go and see if that custom works. So the custom was off of modeling. It won't work now. Since I saved it, I can pull up something. We're going to hit X, and we're going to, oh, there goes Blender 2.79b. Oh yeah, we got that up. We got that puppy running. So let's go back to the MakeHuman community, throw this back up. I'm wondering why they called it MakeHuman community instead of just MakeHuman, but hey, it's all good. I like the little thing that they threw up there. Let's go to files, and we're going to change the file location so we can find him. So, or find something. So you click those three tiny dots, go back to the folder that you created for it, subfolder I should say, or multiple subfolders, and we're going to go and find it in the MakeHuman subfolder, and then go and look for something. There goes something, and select that folder. When you select the folder, it comes up and pops up on the screen. So here comes something. Something's up on the screen, and yo, this is too much for me right now. It's just way too much for me. I don't know what to say. I am happy. I am overjoyed. Let me save this, and I'll be right back, just in case my computer crashes. Alright, so now that something is ready, let's put some clothes on something. That's something that I want to try to do. Something needs some clothes, yo. So here goes the clothes. Let's see. Look at that. The clothes is already built in. Holy crap. It looks like all the clothes are the same, so that's not any different. I mean, it would have been dope if they had some different clothing, but I'm not worried about it. Clothing is clothing. It's something. It's something to work with, right? So something got something to work with, pretty much. So, yo, I'm just having fun. So let's go with the eyes. He got high poly eyes. If y'all folks don't understand about the high poly, low poly stuff, I'll try to get into that a little bit more detailed in another video. But pretty much low poly means it's very low polygons, and high poly means it's a high level of polygons. That's pretty much it. So with 3D models, you're going to deal with polygon levels and scales. So we're going to go with materials, look for his skin. We're going to add some middle-aged skin on there. You can see he looks a little middle-aged. Let's go with middle-aged Asian male. Not too bad, not too shabby. He doesn't look too bad. Let's go with the African-American male, or middle-aged African male. You can see this is looking somewhat realistic, not too much, but somewhat. Hopping around, here goes a middle-aged Caucasian male. You get the point. So you can play around with the skins. Let's see with the toon. The toon doesn't look too realistic, because actually what happens with the toon skin is that the toon skin becomes invisible and you can't really see it. When it comes to a texture, it doesn't become a texture in a textured folder when you output the actual files. So keep in mind, you know, if you're going to play with this toon one, you might have to create your own toon texture. So here goes some more, just playing around, and I'm wondering if the hair is a lot better or not. Now remember I was talking about rendering. Let's try the rendering just to see what it looks like. They don't have the, oh, here goes the advanced. So we go to advanced render, leave the resolution as it is, whatever. I'm not going to play with that. We're going to hit render, and we want to see the scene and what it can do. So you can see a slightly bit higher quality on the render than what you've seen previous to it. So that's one of the things that you can do. So that's not bad. That gives you the closer to photorealism. You can also change the background if you want to change the background, and I believe the background option is right here. So if you click that, it goes into trying to change the background. It says no background image is set. To show a background, choose an image from a background tab in settings, and then you click OK. So there is no background set, but it's actually set up with this option here and prepared and ready for the background to be accepted. So you go to settings, and then from there I believe you have to load in a background. But here it goes right here, this little tab. You hit that, and it says if you want backgrounds to show up here, place the image in C drive users flash documents MakeHuman volume 1 P3 py3 backgrounds. So that was the same folder that I accessed to put in the target. Let's double check and see if that target is in there. That's what we should have done, right? So go to custom, and now you can see the target. Holy crap, what is it gonna do? I don't know what it's gonna do, but it may do something crazy, and we'll see. Just slide the slider, and look what he does. Look what it does. It does some weird alien stuff. Oh my god. It's turning my character into an alien. Whoa. Why doesn't it look realistic? I don't know what it was meant to do in the first place. I have no idea. So that is pretty odd, pretty crazy looking, and it just does some weird stuff to your actual character. And yeah, that's what we got. So I don't like that, but you might like it. I don't know. That target's not for me. So there we go. That's your character that you created, or I created. You didn't create it. Let's go to random. Actually, I didn't create it. The randomizer created it. Let's go to hit the randomizer and check this out. This doesn't get more realistic than this. Well, this doesn't get more realistic than something, I guess. So let's go to, let's find the eyes. Where are the eyes? Go to the eyes, switch around the eyes, try to play on the eyes. That doesn't look too bad. That's pretty cool. And what's powerful, even more powerful, is when you take this character and you bring it over to Blender 2.80. I'm not going to do that at this very moment because I got Blender 2.79. So let's actually do a test run on the MHX2 export so you can see what it can do. So we go to MHX2 or MakeHuman Exchange, and we go to export, and make sure you send it to that something folder so you can pick it up and scoop it up. Don't send it to this MakeHuman Volume 1 PY3 or the previous one, Volume 1. Don't send it to these because this is actually folders that are for your MakeHuman software. So you're going to go to like 3D Objects or create some other folder, and then we're going to go and find MakeHuman, the actual subfolder so that I created. So you want to create a MakeHuman subfolder somewhere on your Windows PC or your Mac computer or whatever. If it runs on Mac, I don't even know if it runs on Mac. But once you open that one up, then you're gonna, like I said, create that something folder, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna jump into something and we're gonna call it something MHX prep, something like that, prep 1, and click save. So now it's being prepared for the exchange. So now what you want to do when you put it over to MakeHuman, or not to MakeHuman, when you put it over to Blender, losing my train of thought here. When you put it over to Blender, you're going to have some really awesome stuff on Blender. Just keep in mind to follow what I'm trying to show y'all folks. So here we go. We're going to move over to Blender and not on the web. Obviously it's on your computer. So let's go to Blender. And here goes Blender 2.79b. Don't get all caught up with all the fanciness and all that stuff. It's all good. Don't get caught up with the cube. Just delete the cube if you want to get rid of it. We're going to go to File and go to Import and then go to MHX2. Now, Blender 2.79b may not have this MHX2 on your version. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get the add-on for it. So I'll give y'all folks the link to get there, and all you got to do is extract that file folder and bring it onto your computer, and basically you can get the add-on to merge onto your Blender. It's very simple to do. So let's click MHX2, and when you get here, once you get your MHX2 add-on off of Blender 2.79b, go to Override Exported Data. So you're not actually moving the file yet. You want to set this up so you can have what you want to be imported in. So what we're going to import in is a base. We're going to import shape faces and face shapes. Sorry, not shape faces. Face shapes and face shape drivers. And then leave the subsurface unselected, or do not select that one. With masking, we're going to put apply. so we can apply all the different masking levels that we require for that actual content. And all of this is going to be set up for another tool if y'all folks want to play with that other tool, which is known as Voxel. And another thing you're going to do, don't click merge parts. We'll merge the parts individually. With the hair, don't add here if you don't want to add here. And make sure you have selected add rigging and everything else is selected. So when we add rig, it's going to add what was exported if you have something that you wanted to export from MakeHuman community over here. So if you went in to pose it and then set up the particular skeleton that you chose, so whatever skeleton you wanted to add, if you added a particular skeleton, that will supply a rig, which the rigs give you the ability to animate your characters. So instead of doing that, we're going to go over here and we're going to choose one of these options, which is MHX, Rigify, Base, Daz, Game. Any of these stuff you can choose. So let's just choose Game, and that's going to give us a basic gaming rig to be animated for games. So if you're trying to create stuff for a game, or maybe you're doing something for like the actual tool that I was telling you about known as Voxel, you can use it off of this game rig. So from there, now we're going to hit this little up arrow or go to our documents or desktop or whatever folders that you think that particular file is closest to. And then we'll go to boy farmer, that's the file that is close to, and then hit this up arrow and it's in the MakeHuman subfolder. So you go in, go to something, and then there goes that file. So you basically got to locate that file through by any means that you can through any of these options that you see here. Once you get to the file, then you're going to click import. Now it's going to take all that and it's going to import the settings that you have set up for that character, and it's going to bring in a rig. So now this character is fully rigged and ready to go to be used anywhere in terms of any software that you have on your computer or that you want to bring into your computer. It says auto run disabled, ignore. I don't know what that means. I guess that means that the Python scripts are not enabled. So what I have to do is to activate Python scripts. And the reason why that was set up, or not set up I should say, is because I had it set at one point and then I had this computer configure, I guess, the 7.9b. So I had to get it back on my computer because I was trying to run up Blender 2.8 Alpha B or Alpha 2 or whatever, and when I loaded that on, it got rid of all of my Blender versions for some reason, and it screwed it up. So my Blender started over from scratch. I lost a lot of my Blender files, a lot of different things happened. Pretty weird stuff. But now I got auto run Python scripts. You want to have this set up prior to getting your add-ons running, because then the full functionality of the add-on may not work out the way that it's intended to work based on the actual developers. And developers are the ones that come up with Python scripts so that all your add-ons could work the way they're supposed to. That's the reason why the MHX2 or MakeHuman Exchange is not working on Blender 2.80 beta right now, because a lot of those add-ons have not caught up to the new updated version of Blender. So let's hit X, and what we're going to do is we'll ignore it for now, but if this doesn't work the way it's intended, that's the reason. So what we're going to do is go into the outliner. If y'all folks don't know the outliner yet, this is basically just where all of your file folders are set up at, or your files I should say, and your 3D content. So all your 3D content, including the rig and everything, is all here. Your lamp, your point lamp or lamp light, whatever, your camera, and even including the render layers for rendering. So all that stuff is built here. Your scene is actually set up here. And so this is what you want to work with in order to access your differing content. So let's go in and let's see what we can do. So I'm going to select, multi-select different items. Excuse me. So you multi-select items by using the shift key on your keyboard and the left click mouse button if it's left click enabled. for your version of Blender that you're using, and you're going to use the scale key, or S, and you can scale it down to size. Now you don't have to scale it down to size, but I'm scaling it down to size for the purposes of the grid, so you can see within the range of where the grid is at. And now what we're going to do is rotate in the Z direction. So we're going to rotate it so we can see the frontal side of it, which is slightly this way. I'll leave it like that. And now we're going to zoom in closer, and we're going to hit the A key to deselect everything. And as you can see, you got a really cool rig tied in. But look how realistic this character looks. And that's what I wanted y'all folks to see, really. So here goes the rig. What I'm going to do is hide the rig real quick so it doesn't block your view. But look how realistic this thing looks. And that's why I love MakeHuman, because it brings you to the desert of the real, pretty much, with your characters. So basically your characters are looking way more realistic than some average, development tool or whatever. This is above average to me, because I know I can't come up with this on my own. And the photorealism effect, once you get it to render, is even much more realistic when you're using cycles. So it's pretty powerful. Now the eyes are not detailed because you have to go into the node editor and play around with the eyes. I also figured out a way to do it. Once you click on the eyes, you can go in, and sometimes you can just go and click on one of the options here, not in the preview, but some of the settings options, you can go in and you can click on certain stuff, and it may actually fix it for you. Look at that, the alpha blend. So the alpha blend fixed the eyes right there, pretty easy. And now I can hit the A key to deselect, and now my character is fully fitted and ready for even rendering. So now if I wanted to render, I go to render here, go to render image, and it may pull up some aspect of the character, not the full view of it, because the camera may be in the wrong position. So I have to go for the cameras. I have to bring in the camera angle and position it so that it actually will be viewed in the right spot. So these are the things that you have to think about when you're coming up with your Blender views and all that stuff. So I chose to put the 3D cursor somewhere around here. If you don't know about the 3D cursor, I highly recommend for y'all folks to learn how to use it. It's really important. It's like a targeting mechanism to bring in differing content that you want to bring into your viewport. So depending on where you orient your actual mouse is where the 3D cursor will be placed. So sometimes it can be placed too far out. So I'm going to place it right here with reference and with respect to the actual character that I created, which is something. I called him something. And so what I'm going to do is hit the Shift key on the keyboard and the A key, and I'm going to bring in my actual camera. And with the camera, I can rotate the camera in his direction and use the R key and Z key, and then move it in his direction and then aim it at him. And when you do that, it gives you the ability to render directly towards the focus or focal point of the character. So right now, if you look at it, it's aiming this way. So it's only going to catch his arm. So I can do a test render, and you'll see, well, that one actually, that camera isn't activated. This camera is activated down here near his foot. So this camera all the way down near his foot, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the active camera. So to change the active camera, you use the control key and press the 0 key on your number pad, and it switches around. So now what I'm going to do is move it around and actually catch a scope of him. And let's rotate at a Y degree angle. Let's rotate at the X axis and try to level it out a little bit. And now we got him leveled with the camera in view. Now if I want, I can pull the camera back a little bit and hit the 0 key now, and then try to get him fully into the picture. And there we go. Oops, sorry about that. I slid the mouse without clicking the left button to activate that particular position. Left click mouse is always going to activate if you're left click enabled. Right click mouse will activate everything if you're right click enabled. If you didn't have that understanding when you first started Blender, then go to File, go to User Preferences. This is Blender 2.79 in previous versions. If you're using the newer version of Blender, you would have to change it off of going to Edit. So we're going to go to Input, Input I think, and then over here it says select with left or right, so you would have to choose which one you want to enable. So I'm left click enabled. My left click mouse button controls everything pretty much, and my right click is just defaulted to the 3D cursor. Now in Blender 2.780, it's a whole different ball game. Tons of options there, new options, and a lot of different stuff that may be confusing for people who are brand new. But if you're from the old version of Blender, you also may be confused. But if you watch a lot of tutorials and differing videos that people are throwing out there, they're trying to help y'all folks to keep up with it and also to be able to be abreast of the new changes. So here we go. Let's go with a render, test render, hit F12, and you should see that this bad boy definitely will look pretty good. Now the only thing that's wrong with it right now is that the lighting is not that great. So you can improve on the lighting by playing around with the differing light elements that you choose to put into your 3D world space. So you have to play with your lamp, your point lamp, or whatever lamp, if you have a sun lamp. I generally like to use what is known as the one of the lamps that they removed actually in Blender 2.80 beta. So let me go back. I believe it's the Hemi light. So the Hemi light was removed, and so that one does more like a global illumination. It lights up the whole entire scene. But the fact that it's not present in Blender 2.78 does kind of stink a little bit. Kind of ruins the whole gameplay on what some people learned how to do in terms of rendering, but you're just gonna have to learn a different workflow. So let's go to render again. That's another way to render besides hitting the F12 key on your keyboard. And now that I moved the lamp up a little bit, now you can see a lot better. And this is pretty much what you can do with MakeHuman in combination and in conjunction with using Blender. And I've been doing this for a while, like I would say a solid going on 3.5 months. So I pretty much got a good grip on doing this part of the rendering process, this part of the 3D modeling process, which I didn't have to do much to model the character. I just did what y'all folks saw, which is use MakeHuman, and bam, I got this really cool character set up. Now you can get the character animated, you can get the character moving, you can get the character to talk. You could do a lot of stuff with this thing, and I did pretty much every little part, but it took me a lot of YouTube videos to get to that point. So if y'all folks want to tune into that kind of stuff, look in my videos description area. I'll give y'all folks a playlist there, and you can try to catch up. Eventually I'll try to sequence the videos in an archive timeline so that y'all folks can actually do it from novice level to more advanced. So I'll put all the novice level videos towards the bottom of the timeline, and then all the way scaling up to the top of the actual archive will be the more advanced videos. So I haven't got to that point. I haven't organized my archive yet in terms of my YouTube playlist, but I can show y'all folks. I've been showing people what I come up with so far for actual Blender. So here goes my YouTube channel. I'm sure y'all folks are already familiar with it if you checked it out, but we can go to playlist if we want to go here, but I'll go a little bit quicker through this on the left side of my YouTube thing, and then I'm gonna go here and click show more, and then click on Blender. So this is the actual playlist that I'm gonna lead y'all folks to, and I have a video about it that I launched. I don't know if it's actually up yet, but I'm gonna be setting it to public very soon if it hasn't been launched. So here goes the Blender Guru. He's a really dope 3D artist, and he's a professional in the Blender community. He's a Blender professional pretty much. He started many years ago when Blender first started. So he actually made his career off of Blender, and that's pretty sensational. That's an inspiration to anybody on the planet. Anybody can do this. So, but it takes a lot of years, obviously, to become a professional at any career. Doesn't matter what it is. So I'm not sure if he went to school for it. I'm not sure if he went to school for 3D modeling before he got into using Blender. I have no idea about his history, but I do know from a lot of videos that I watched that he's pretty professed and knowledgeable on the subject, and he can take anybody anywhere with it, depending on what you want to do. So these are all the different videos that I have showcased here. I've been trying to keep up with Blender 2.8. That's why you can see so many Blender 2.8, 2.8, 2.8 beta, 2.8 beta. Is tons of them. So I'm really getting professed and knowledgeable on the subject. I'm not professed on it, but I'm getting trained on it by professionals, I should say. So the more knowledge that I gain on it, just like anybody else, the more knowledgeable you are on a subject, you become much more of a subject matter expert over time, especially when you learn to apply that knowledge. So that's my game plan, and that's what I'm going to be doing. But I'm going to be using MakeHuman because I'm not a 3D modeler or 3D artist yet. I'm not the best at this stuff, but I'm really professed when it comes to arranging files and knowing where to put stuff on my computer. That's my strong point, and that's what I've been good at. And that's why I think I'm able to understand this stuff to some degree a lot more easily than the average person, because some people are not computer savvy. So if you don't get computer savvy, it's really hard to understand 3D, because 3D is about, I would say, 90% computer savvy awareness required. So you have to really understand how computers work in order to work the files for your 3D models. And if you don't know how to work the files, you're pretty much going to be lost in the ocean, because you're going to get swamped with a lot of different things that may throw you off, because something like unzipping a file folder is required to do. Exchanging different files, moving files from one folder to the next folder, pipelining files from one software to the next software. If you don't know how to do that, and you don't understand UIs, the user interfaces that pretty much computers create, computers are creating these user interfaces, and developers, they come up with the codes to create the user interfaces. So if you don't learn the user interface and how to exchange the files through the user interface like I showed in this video, then you're going to get lost, and it's going to be very hard for you. You may get discouraged, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to try to help soften that transition so more and more people can understand it, and it can make it more of a smooth sail and a smooth transition, as opposed to something that's really difficult for you. And I didn't get too much into Blender, as you folks can see. I'm trying to gear y'all folks to the learning process. These are all the different videos that I got into in the course of 3 months, and this is going over 200 videos. Look at that. I went over 200 videos, and it's just still going. I'm a beast when it comes to learning. I don't stop. I just keep going and keep going and keep going. This is only one playlist, folks. 330 videos. Now let's go to other playlists that I created. So outside of Blender. Now just look at the left of the screen and you'll see. Here goes my OBS studio videos. So let's just pop into that one so y'all folks can see that. I mean, I don't stop, folks. I just keep going. This one has 45 videos. Not too bad. But Blender, obviously I dug deeper and much deeper and much deeper and much deeper, and I was puzzled by Blender. So something that puzzles me is going to drive me to do even more. But look at all these playlists, folks. I'm a social curator, so I love to find stuff that works for people and curate the content. So that's what I'm into doing. That's my other stronghold. I'm great at research, and I'm great at finding stuff that is really useful to people. And that's why I drive these videos this way, and that's why I actually create even long length videos, because I'm information centered. I love information. I've always been like that since I was a kid, and I just don't stop. I just keep going. Even at one point I felt like I was losing my mind because I was trying to learn too much information, but too much sometimes is good, depending on what you're doing with that information. So if you're too extreme with it and you're not using it for something positive, obviously it's not going to be healthy for you. So you got to pretty much channel that information, channel that knowledge to a positive outlet and output. Put it into something that is beneficial to humanity or whatever. And you know what? It's going to benefit tons of people. And that's how it works. So I'm going to end this session with that note. There you go with that. Hopefully y'all guys or gals who are watching like what y'all see. MakeHuman is definitely going pretty far with this new upgrade. I don't see too much different from what I've been able to do with the previous versions. I do notice that they scaled down some of the stuff, so I don't have that many rigs that I could play with over here. Let's see the facial bones. There you go with the facial. It gives you the facial creation for bone structure. I really didn't use this for anything. I tried to play with it. I wasn't able to use it. You would think that you need it for something like playing with Wakaru, which is a character build control tool. It helps you to animate faces and stuff like that using shape keys. But this kind of face rig, you don't need shape keys. Oh, and talking about that, let's go back to Blender so you can see the shape keys real quick and what the shape keys can do. So what is shape keys? Shape keys basically give you facial expressions. And hold on, I'm holding my actual microphone so I can get a better quality video in terms of audio. So let me bring into the facial shape so y'all folks can see that and get as close as I can to the face. This is the closest I can get for right now. So I'm not in front orthographic view, or I haven't changed the view. I can change the view over here if I go to orthographic view right here, hit that, and then I can back out and get closer to the face like that. So say I wanted to activate the shape keys, I would have to go into activating the armature. So you got to bring the armature in, click the armature, and then it gives you the ability to control the MHX2 tab that you have over here related to shape keys. And then you have shape keys over here that you can open up by clicking this little arrow. So a lot of people wouldn't know that if they haven't did research on shape keys in relation to the MakeHuman tool. So even if you know shape keys, you probably didn't find it yet for MakeHuman until maybe you ran into it by error or just playing around trying to manipulate. But if you didn't have a use for it, you wouldn't have used it. So here we go. We playing around with the shape keys, adjusting the mouth. And guess what? I forgot to add teeth to the character. So you can also move it using this tool here, but you would have to go into pose mode. So that's what we're in right now. So you can move the mouth. See that right there? You can move the head parts if you want. This is when it comes to animation. You can play around with all that stuff. You can reset the mouth. That would reset it. If I would have added teeth and a tongue, it would look a little bit better. But that just gives y'all folks an idea of how you can create facial shapes and facial expressions. You can move the head. You can really do a lot of stuff. And like I said, I'm not even an animator, and I understand these things. It took me some time to figure it out, to get the right tools to work and to understand how to manipulate things and to do stuff. But when you take your time with something, and the more you work with it, eventually you get better at it. You will eventually get really, really good at it. I'm still not that great with like IK, inverse kinematics, stuff like that. I'm not a rigger, so I haven't really rigged the character myself, but I use these automated rigs like from MHX2 and or Rigify. If y'all folks ever heard of Rigify, I don't know if you heard of it. Look at that. That was a horrible actual pose. But you know, the more you get good at this different stuff, then you can eventually become an animator. You can literally animate your characters. Look at this crazy face. I don't know if a person's face is supposed to do that, but I'm just playing around. Let's go to Control Z and back that out. That looks kind of crazy. So yeah, the more you do stuff, eventually you can surprise yourself. You know, you can really pull off something amazing. Let's see. I'm just playing around. I don't know what I'm doing. This guy's knee looks like it's broke. You know, if I was good at this posing stuff and animation, I would do it for days and then come up with some kind of animated film. But I'm not that good at it yet. So the more I practice, the more I try, eventually I will get really, really good. Look at this. You can move the eyes, rotate the eyes. This is not the best rig. This is just a basic gaming rig, so it doesn't have the face rig, so you can move the eyes and stuff like that. You can add that stuff if you wanted to add that stuff. So when you come up with this actual MHX2 Exchange file that you built in and how you chose to import it, it's going to determine what type of animatable rig that your character has. So keep in mind what type of rig that you want to bring in. Other than that, say you set up a rig over here on, let's see, on MakeHuman. Say you set up this kind of face rig. Once you set up the face rig, you're stuck with it. You can't remove it. You can't try to break it and delete stuff, because then it's going to break the actual rig and it won't work right. So whatever your 3D asset creation that you tried to come up with, you're going to be stuck with this kind of rig that you select. So keep that in mind. The other thing about the rig is that if you want to bring in the rig from MakeHuman itself, make sure you select that exported option, so that whatever was exported here will come in to the MakeHuman, or not MakeHuman, but come into the Blender version that you're using. You can actually use MHX2 all the way back to Blender 2.72, because that's the one that I started with when I first started Blender, because it didn't work for my 2.79b because I didn't know about the Python scripts and auto-running Python scripts. I had no idea about it. So I just want y'all folks to know this kind of stuff. Hopefully this helps you on your experiences through playing with Blender. And this guy is floating. He's not even on the ground plane. So he's in a different dimension. He's just floating around, bugging out, looking funny or weird or whatever. Oh, and then one other thing that I want y'all folks to learn about is a really cool tool that I recently learned. Let's go back to object mode. Whenever you pose something, it's going to be stuck in that position, as opposed to edit mode. I think edit mode, it won't be stuck. It will bounce back to what object mode was. So keep that in mind. Whatever you pose, it's going to be stuck like that. So like if you go to file and export it, it's going to be exported as that position, that pose. So let's do that. Let's go to export it as a wavefront object file, which is the basic standard of a 3D asset. So we're going to send it to his actual something file folder, and I'm just going to show y'all folks something really cool. So we go to something something really cool, right? And we're going to call this something 2, I don't know, or something 1, because there's no other object file for it. And we're going to go to export. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to another tool. If y'all folks never heard of magic of Voxel, this is when you want to hear about it. I'm telling y'all folks, you're going to be blown away by this tool. This tool is pretty dope. So I want to import that here. How do I import it here, and what does this do? Well, pretty much magic of Voxel is really dope. It's little tiny squares or boxes that you can create, very similar to Minecraft. So actually the world of Minecraft, that game itself, was created using voxels. So you can go in and you can create anything you want with these voxels, and it's pretty fun. So what I'm doing, I'm erasing. This is the different brushes, really simple to use. You can build voxels based on boxes or faces. So you can go in and create faces. Look at that. That looks like it's some sort of a volume space for an office or something. I don't know. I just created that on the fly, and I could use it if I wanted to. So it also looks like this is a step level. I don't know. This looks like some kind of a closet or a dresser. I'm not sure what that is, or a tabletop. So you can play around and create whatever you want on the fly. That's pretty dope. You can change colors, color things how you want it to be colored. Have fun with it. You know, think outside the box and keep creating. That's what people are doing. Literally outside the box, right? But inside the box, this is the create space. So you're limited to 126 voxels by 126 voxels. So I'm going to show you what a voxel looks like. Just one individual voxel, will make it red. And we'll go with box select or box mode. They have box mode, face mode, voxel mode, pattern mode, center mode, and line mode. And I pretty much understand all the modes now because I've been playing with it for about a good week and a half, going on 2 weeks. And I'm pretty fast at learning. So here goes a little voxel. Cool, right? And here goes another, here goes another. So you got 3 voxels. So you can play with these and, like I said, shape things how you want to shape them and play with them. But what I want to do is turn that character that you saw into an actual voxel character. Whoa, wouldn't that be awesome, right? You just learned about the tool. Maybe you want to do it. So we're going to delete everything. Click delete. That deletes it and gives us a blank canvas, right? That's not required to bring it in, but I just wanted y'all folks to see this is that create space that you have. And it was almost blank until I started etching into it. So let me get rid of that. Sorry about that, folks. So let me get rid of that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go and build into that space. Just so you can see what the full space is. 126, keep that magic number in your head. 126 is what we're going to use. So we're going to go onto the web. We're going to type in Voxelizer. Why am I typing that in? Well, I found the actual tool the other day and it blew my mind. So it's from drewbooboo.com or something like that. Very weird name for what it can do. I don't know if names should be associated with tools and how and why they should work a certain way. I don't know about all that, but I do know you got to take this up to 126, which is that magic number, like I stated. And I'll just set this to 1 for shits and giggles, which makes the voxels more solid. If you bring it down, it's going to be like a point cloud looking thing, and it may not look like what you want it to look like. So leave this at 1. This is more like the visibility, and this is the voxel sizes. So if you don't want a large size, if you go all the way down to 7, you're not really going to get any kind of good shape. Or if you go all the way down to 1, you're only going to get 1 individual vox, 1 by 1 by 1. So let's bring it all the way up to 126. If you go past 126, this option to save is going to go away. So what we want to do is save it as a Vox type file. So we go to save, and this is going to be the ability to open. So we click open, which is an OBJ file that you're trying to open up, and we're going to find that actual file folder. So we're going to look through our 3D objects file folder. We're going to go to MakeHuman, and from there we will go to let's see, something. Go into something and then open up something's actual object file folder. This says DN, but that stands for Adobe Dimension. So don't disregard that. Don't worry about that. That's when I had Adobe Dimension on my PC. I still have it, but it's not activated because I gotta get back into paying about $50-something a month or whatever for it, and I'm not really up to spending that money right now for that. So let's click open. And from there, we're going to go, and it says load single texture as PNG or JPEG. So basically the textures for 3D objects are going to be in a format of a PNG or JPEG. Now that y'all know that, hopefully that will help you to understand it a little bit. But textures are image files, which is pretty crazy, but that's how it works. And they're actually programmed through what is known as UVs and UV maps. And they're programmed to be able to layer themselves on top of a 3D asset so the 3D asset can have the differing textured look. So that's the only difference between it being a regular PNG and regular JPEG. These are mapped for them, so they're graphically enhanced so that they actually will layer themselves on top of a 3D asset. So let's click open, and we're going to go for the texture map, and we're going to choose and select the skin. So if we choose anything else, it's not going to look really that good, especially the eyes. It's going to look crazy. But we're going to go for the skin, hit open, and you'll see the character build in there. And look at that. He got the pose, he got everything the way that I set it. Then we're going to go to save as Vox. The skin kind of looks kind of weird because he's practically nude right here, but you can't tell with the voxel shape. So we're going to go to save file and click OK multiple times because it does get freaky and stuck or whatever. We're going to click this little arrow, open containing folder, and then we're going to take that and we're going to cut it, drag it back into the something folder, right click and paste it. Now we got everything in that something folder that we created today. Now when we go back to Magic of Voxel, you have options over here to start doing things with files, which is in the upper right corner. Everything else, don't worry about it. You can watch my other videos to get into that, or watch other people's videos on YouTube for it. So we're going to go to the third icon, which is the open icon, to open up Vox type files. When you try to open it, pretty much you have to find that folder for something. And once you get there, it's going to blow your mind, but you pretty much are going to be able to put it in to Magic of Voxel. So you go to MakeHuman, go to something, and now you have something on Magic of Voxel. We're going to click no for model unsaved. We're not worried about that. And now you can rotate it and look at it. And look, this guy's sitting outside of the actual build space. So what that means to you is that you should actually make more space for him first. So you go over here, type in 126 for the build space. If you do that, it's going to delete part of him. Look at that, chopped off his head. So hit the back arrow and instead go to select and go to all, and then rotate him in the X direction. So you go to ROT right here is the rotation option. You click it and then click X, and now it puts him in the build space. So you got that rectangular build space, and now you can go for 126. So I'm going to be doing these videos a lot for people to learn how to do this. So here you go. Now you got your character in here and ready to be decked out for the holidays. I don't know, I'm just playing, but let's click the inverse here of all. INV means inverse, or you can use Control I on the keyboard. All these have hotkeys, most of them. So if you don't like clicking these things over here, you can use hotkeys. And now what I'm going to do is apply the palette. Basically, the texture is converted into a palette from the Voxelizer tool that I showed y'all folks. So we're going to go over here to bring in the color palette. As you can see, this is a color palette. They have 4 slots, 0, 1, 2, 3. But when you activate this particular palette, it's going to make it go away. So you're going to lose all these options of slots for color palettes. And the color palettes are pretty much just one PNG file of multiple colors, and you'll see you can change these colors as you see fit. So we're going to go and try to change this one, but it's going to change all of them, and they're going to be stuck to that one color palette that was created. So let's go to 3D objects, and we're going to go to MakeHuman. Where is it at? And then we're going to go to something, and you'll see there's a color palette that was inserted in there. And if it's not in there, then we're going to have some issues. We're going to have a problem. I don't know what happened with that one. Oh, I know what happened. That's because in the downloads, it was sent into the downloads folder. So we kind of moved too fast. So let's go back over here to downloads and then try to find that one. Actually, we can re-download it. So that was my error. I made a little error, and I won't be able to get something from here. But here goes the palette. All right, it's still there. So we're going to go to containing folder, cut this one. I forgot to grab that. My bad. Cut, and then go to 3 objects. Actually, it's right here, something, and then paste it in there. So there goes the palette. I forgot to do that. My bad. The palette will bring all those color textures. Go back to Magic of Voxel. Bounce back to the MakeHuman folder, and then jump back into something, and now it's here. Hit open, and now you got the textures for this character. So it doesn't look that great. It's not spectacular, but it's better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. That's crazy. So there we go. Look at that. It does look like something. It actually looks like some scary creature. It could be, I don't know, it could be part of your game, and it could be like, if you wanted to add this as a game character, you can do that. Maybe you have to play with the colors and fix the face a little bit. But for Voxel, Magic of Voxel, I think it's pretty sensational what you can do with using MakeHuman to create your voxel art. So that's what I like to use it for. So we're going to go to render, and now look at him. He's in the scene. He's coming at you, and maybe you want to, plug him away with something and maybe slice him down to size. I don't know. As a video game character, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy fun. So let's go to atmosphere, apply atmosphere, and then maybe apply some ground texture. So what we'll do with that, we'll go scroll it down. Actually go to all for the render, scroll it down and look for the ground. This is the ground here, and maybe apply the same color of his skin or something. I don't know. Maybe go a little darker for the ground. A little bit darker. How about a lot darker? There we go. So now you created a character. He's standing on the ground, got a shadow going. And it doesn't look that artistic, but it sure was fun. Now you can play with this, and you can bring out a little bit more of maybe a shape or something. You go here to shape, and you can turn it into Legos. So eventually it turns into all Lego pieces, and you'll see if you go up close, these are Lego pieces. So look at that. Pretty crazy. Then you can change it into spheres. That's what I've been doing with my voxels, just having fun. And all because I learned all these tools over time. And now I can create this kind of stuff, which is pretty weird. But I think it makes for some really great art. Something very unique that other people probably haven't thought of doing. So let's see, change the ground effect, and that changes your lighting. And then you can also go deeper and play with the materials. You can create glass, you can emit light, you can really go hard with this stuff. So let's try a light emission, see how that looks. Increase the power, and I don't know what's going to be lighting up. I think this particular color will light up. Depending on what kind of color you choose, you might change the light emission on it. Change the power, and eventually you'll start seeing these things light up. Pretty crazy. But that's how I like to play around with Magic of Voxel in conjunction with something like MakeHuman. And I've been doing that so far for like about 5 days. And I came out with some really, really fun looking stuff. Here goes another option. These are like pipes. I believe these are like pipes. Let's see. Yeah, these look like pipes. So this could be another different type of art form. Pretty cool. Looks like cigarettes. I don't know. weird looking. And then let's try the clay. The clay kind of looks really artistic. Look at that. Pretty cool, right? So I'm going on an hour now. I'm gonna actually shut this down because I gotta go to bed. It's about 3:30 right now, and I definitely went hard. I had fun with this stuff, and hopefully y'all folks liked it. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. It will help my channel to go much further, so I can do more tutorials to help more people around the planet. And other than that, I am out of here. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon if y'all folks want to get my latest videos, and I'll see you next time. Mike Pugh is signing off. Peace.